But this is not as easy as it sounds. By the time we even know that there is such a thing as a true or authentic self, the false self has already taken over to the extent that it is hard to tell what is false and what is true. Over time, a great gulf has developed between who we really are and the designs and plans that the ego has for us. It can be a very complicated matter to untangle all the threads.
Right?
It's crazy.
The false self.
Whether it's proving yourself, whether it's trying to become something or someone.
Hunter and I, we were up there talking before church, and we got off in this a little bit, and I said, I've been trying to throw my false self out of my car since over the last 30 years. And I think he's out of there, and all of a sudden he pops up in the back seat. Ding! Right? It's intertwined in our soul. And when I think about these kids, I wrote a thing. I go to a counselor almost every week for the last year, and I've gone to see a counselor probably a number of times every year over the past, 10 years. That's what ministry does to you. No, it's actually the most best thing, because you can't always talk about everything to everyone. And having somewhere to go, it's not just about having a mind dump, but it's also about, there are people that know how to go and pull that out of you or tell you what to do. And a couple of years ago, this one lady counselor I was going to see, she said, I kept pinpointing this time in my life at 8 years old. Because we were talking about when did you feel like you were you ate off the tree of the knowledge of good and evil? How old were you? Like, who told you were naked? Right? When was that? Because I have this imagery of myself being this little kid, just this happy dude little kid. And then there was a time in my life, I can pinpoint it, somewhere around then, that darts started hitting me. I'm going somewhere with this. And so she gave me an exercise that challenged me. She said, go away and write a letter to your 8-year-old self. And so there was this alley that I used to ride my bike in when I was 8. We moved from one part of Cumberland to another, and I loved this alley. It was like, had these bricks in the center, and you could get in and go to the backyard, get on the alley, and I could go from where I lived all the way out, like Old Town Road, out by St. Mary's Catholic Church, and I could always get home because I just followed that brick. But I remember being that age, and I can remember having darkness in my life. This happy kid that looked happy and was happy, but this darkness, where'd it come from and why? And that dark part has been there all along, even to this day, even this moment. Not in a dominating way, but in a way that always challenges me and comes at me when I want to step out into the best part of the campaigner, or of the gifted part. It's not enough because it's not out there, like you said. It's not coming from out there. It's not a logical thing. It's not a, well, you know what, blah, blah, blah. It's there. So I got to go find that kid and coach and speak in a way, or have the Father speak in a way that gets that kid on the right course. Anybody, you tracking with me on that?
Yeah.
Tracking with me on that? All the more, Satan, and not to get all scary about it, but dark things were talking to me outside of Sunday school. I can remember moments and times I couldn't, because I know when we moved from a certain part of the city to another, and I know how old I was, and I can think of some dark things influencing my life. I could have only been 4 or 5 years old. Because I know doing the math when I moved. That's unfair. And none of it came from an individual. It came from a thought process that was going off in this creative kid's mind, this celebrity campaigning, wanting to do a song, wanted to get on the stage, wanted to bring my gift to the people and make people feel good about their life. And there was this other thing still there. So she was like, go back. So I did that. It's helped a lot. So when we're talking about knowing who you are, it's not this clinical. Growth Track is not your grandma's membership course, all right? Been there, done that. Got 16 different buttons and pens, and what's it matter if you don't know who you are? What can you do? And not know that other part. And here's the other thing. Being in community with other people help you. How many of you ever got to anywhere good by yourself, right? As many as there might be somebody that threw a bad torch at you and it still bothers you, how many people have brought some good stuff into your life, brought some sugar, right?
Yeah.
That's what church is to be about. If there's any one place on planet Earth where you can go and become a part of somebody that will value you in spite of the things that maybe you don't even value in yourself. That's what Jesus did.
It's great.
Clap, that makes me feel good. So, and you jump in because I told you I'll get.
Can I jump in where you said so? You tell us, when I was the youth pastor, and we tell all of this and everything to keep the people on the bridge, right? We keep the shine kids, the young kids, we keep them on the bridge, right? They might think everything you say is baloney, but we want to keep them coming. We want to keep them on the bridge. And you talk about if I would have had at 8 years old or 10 years old, if I would have had an Ollie, or if only I would have had, and I feel like Growth Track is about, if only someone would have had you that was using their gift, that was obedient to God, that grabbed a kid downstairs, that maybe...
Not grabbed a kid. We're in a different world.
No shot.
What I do,
There's no shot. And you brought them along on the bridge. And this is what Growth Track's about. How you can use your gifts, your hands, your uniqueness, your voice, your heart.
Yeah.
And continue to keep the kids on the bridge. So, with that said, bringing it along from Growth Track into nurturing in Nazareth.
Yeah.
Talking about the 8-year-old Pastor Tim pretending he's in the Lighthouse of Hope Church.
Oh, man.
And nurturing, developing, growing, raising these kids up, raising you up, us up.
Last Sunday night, we had a Super Bowl party here with some guys in the move. And at halftime, instead of watching 50 Cent, he looked like he's more like $1 now. But instead of watching 50 Cent, which I have no problem with him actually, and Eminem, which if Eminem didn't put all the words in, I like his stuff. Slim Shady. But and we went around, and Ollie asked us, questions, and we were going around answering the questions. Why do you like LOH and all that stuff and all that? And I listened to everybody everybody said some awesome stuff. Connor said some cool stuff. But Brady, I just want to say, I'm not exactly sure what grade you're in, but the way that you shared your heart, it melted me into the floor, because you're at the age when the church I went to broke the bridge. And when they broke the bridge, and it wasn't intentional, my life broke hard. And I have this gap from being this kid that was in a church, having the Word of God put in my heart, having the presence of God, being this kid, didn't have a youth group, didn't have a thing. And I got so lost. Had a good mom and dad. good sports, all that stuff. But on the inside of me was that dark thing that nobody knew. It was a paralysis on my life. It was the kryptonite on the Superman part of me that just couldn't. And I didn't have anywhere to go with it. And I wasn't on stage. It's always been this way in my life. I'm sorry. On stage, I'm a certain kind of person that I can easily, I could do in front of 15,000 people. If I get around 2 or 3 people to do a funeral or whatever, I freak out. I get scared. I get nervous. So I didn't have anybody to go to and talk to. If you would have been there, I'm trying to think of the people back in my life. Steve Trimble, Gerald Trimble's brother, these guys I looked up to. If any of those guys would have walked up to my life, because I was a sports kid, out on a basketball court somewhere, and just said, hey man, I go to LOH, The Move, and I want to pick you up and bring you, I would have been saved in like 13 seconds. Instead of that, I walked around, outwardly you would never know it, with so many unanswered questions on the inside of me and so many fears. Back to Brady. Brother, your heart, the way I would have never been able to express what he expressed about something deeply personal that God's doing in his life in this church. And it wasn't the company line, it was straight from his heart. And I saw that and I thought, I want 1,000 kids to be able to say that. 1,000 kids be able to say that. So, I posted a song from the 90s by Amy Grant on my Facebook page this morning, because I listened to this song knowing we were going to talk about this yesterday, and I haven't heard that song for 10 years at least, and it wrecked me in a good way. I'm going to read it to you. Is that all right? It's called The Children of the World. But he represents a bunch of young people in this church that are just like that.
That's right.
Just like that. And I watch them, and I root for them. And I want there to be a bridge. Because you know what? For every, and I say this to Pastor Sean, I say this to Pastor Dustin, I've said it to Ollie. For every kid in the youth group that's the kid that will be there to help you set up tables, tear down tables, be able to coach a Bible study, keep the conversation going. For every kid like that, there's 10 or 20 kids that are somewhere way not even close to that. And you want everybody to be a Christian. But there's some kids you think, I don't know if he's ever going to be a Christian or she. But the goal is to not make a kid a Billy Graham. Keep the kid on the bridge. Because somewhere up the road, if it's not while he's on your bridge or she's on your bridge, if they're in church, if they're in the house, they're in the presence, God has a moment for people. Right? Every life, every beating heart has a searching soul inside, ever needing, ever seeking out the meaning to life. I refuse to believe that we're only here to live and die. In the futile days of a faithless haze, never asking why would I, when I've felt the hand of eternity? It's a legacy I will leave, I want to leave, for the children of the world, every single little boy and girl. Heaven plants a special seed, and we must have faith for these. Red and yellow, black and white, they are precious in the Father's eyes. Like the Father, may we see that they have a destiny, a place where hope is found for every children, all the children of the world.